Hello Ji, welcome back to next one. In this, we are going to discuss about a useful website for a JSON file. So if you are working on a JSON file, then we have to do the basically JSON validation. We need to find a path of a JSON and then schema validation, and there are a couple of more operations. If it is a bulky JSON, then we are looking for how we can easily visualize that particular JSON. So for that, couple of useful websites are available. So let's take a look of these websites one by one. First one is a Jsonlink. So this one is basically my favorite one, and on Jsonlink basically we can easily get to know that particular JSON is a valid or not. So for example, if we are writing a code or if it's passing a JSON somewhere and we have generated JSON by ourselves, then we have to make sure that particular JSON is correct, otherwise will leads to some error. So for that, Jsonlink is a very easy, lightweight and go-to website to validate the JSON file. So I have pasted one JSON file, and if I click on the validate JSON, so basically it is saying a JSON is valid. If I remove something, for example, let's say here I am removing one data and I am trying to validate. So now it is saying on line number 32 there is some issue, and it is saying due to false and some comma kind of stuff is missing. So basically it is highlighting which area on which basically key and value pairs there are some errors. So this is a very useful site, and if I again put the comma and then validate, so it is saying JSON is valid. Now another is to find a JSON path. So what is a basically JSON path? If I have this bulky JSON and I wanted to update only one parameter, which is a board details, so ID I wanted to update, or I wanted to get this data to avoid a serialization, deserialization, or writing some programming line of a code using a single one line of code via JSON path, we will get this particular data and basically we can pass the JSON or we can update the JSON. For that, we should know how to write a JSON path, and there are some useful websites are available. So I'm going to copy this JSON and I'm going to a JSON path finder and simply pasting this JSON. Here basically we can beautify the JSON and we can minify the JSON, so it will be displayed in a one line. And here we can see the nodes by nodes representation. So for example, let's say I wanted to get a path of this particular ID. So if I click on this element, so it is saying a root.id. X means root. X in some website it will be X, on some it will be a $sign, or simply it will start root.id, but basically it is starting from a .id, which means the ID is the first parameter, and then eventually we can traverse to next level nodes, basically inside level nodes. So if I go to again pages, so it will say x.pages. If I again go one layer down, so it is saying attachment type. If I go again one layer down, then it will say Trello. So one by one layer it is saying it dot, like for a Selenium we have written absolute X path. Just similar way here we are traversing JSON node by node, and if there is some array and keys are duplicated. So for example, here I have a two JSON object within a JSON array. So if I simply pass board, then how this library will get to know that which board details I'll need to know. So for that we have to pass that element ID. So this is the 0th element on a JSON array. So here I need to pass basically 0 and then board. So it is saying 0.board, and if I want it for a first one, then simply it is saying a 1 and then board. So like this I can get data of any complicated or nested JSON using a JSON path, and I can update a single value or I can get a single value. Next one is a JSON schema validation. So for example, let's say I have to validate the schema of any JSON. So there is another website which is online JSON schema validator. Basically here we have to pass a JSON and JSON schema. So first I have passed the same JSON, and here I have passed the JSON schema. So if I click on the validate, basically it is saying a JSON is a valid or not. This website again is very easy to use. Another amazing website is a code beautifier. So if I go to that particular website and here I am pasting a JSON file, so it is basically represent data node by node, or sometimes what happens, data will be in a raw format. So data cannot be visualized easily. Like this kind of a data, if I wanted to understand the data, it is little complicated for me to understand. So what we can do, because on a code we will get a data in such formats only. So basically we can copy the data and we can paste data here. So once we click on the beautify, data will be displayed in a formatted form. And apart from another is a tree viewer. So if I click on the tree viewer, I can see how data is basically going. So for outer object, there is 34 data, and once I click on this, so here one by one I can understand these are outer layers, and inside this, if I click on the pages and then attachment type Trello, again here there are 2 more elements. So like this, data is displaying in a very good format. We can view as a tree viewer, or we can beautify the data. So this is another useful website. And if you're very beginner and you are not if you are not able to understand how JSON will look like and how I can read the data, so for you there is an amazing website which is a JSON Crack. You need to basically go to here, this particular website, JSON Crack. This website is not free, but in free version you can do pretty much. Here basically you need to click on the use free version, and if you have pasted your JSON file, something like this, so this will picturize your JSON. This will convert your JSON into flowchart format. So these are the outer elements, and then we have pages. On inside that we have attachment, Trello, and multiple to JSON object. And if you want to get a path, then also again you will get a path. So it is saying a root, pages, attachment type Trello, and on 0th element there is a displaying a board and card. So this is a very useful website if you are very new to API testing and you are not able to understand what is a JSON and how JSON is works. So this will picturize your entire JSON file. So I hope these are some good website for you, and this will do your job very easily. And don't forget to like and share this video with your friend, and don't forget to subscribe fundootesters. Thank you so much.